Well, we don't know. Because then we move on to Halloween H2O, which starts even more continuity issues because it basically ignores the last three movies. 4, 5, 6. It goes from the end of this with the fire, where we learn Dr. Loomis died in that, to following Laurie, who is not dead, but she has changed her name and has a son of her own, and she's teaching in a college where her son works. No, it's a private school. And she's basically moved on with her life until Michael resurfaces. And again, it's not really explained how he resurfaces. He just does. He's just there because that's what he does. He's the shape, and he just shows up and kills people. And he goes through. Wait, who else was in this? There's Josh Hartnett plays her son, and LL Cool J. That's right. That's who I forgot. He was LL Cool J. He was a security guard. Pretty sure he dies. Oh yeah, the title. Despite being called Halloween H2O, has nothing to do with water. It's just Halloween 20 years later. It's the only reason they really made it was to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Halloween. Despite the fact there's a scene where I think they're in a kitchen where Laurie closes the door and there's the round window and Michael looks through it. On the previews, I swear to God, I thought that was something from a fucking submarine. I was like, are they underwater? That's just seriously, did they go underwater? Because that'd be kind of awesome. No one else has done. Most people go into space. They go into water. But they didn't. College campus. And in the very last scene, it would have been very hard. Oh, hey, shit. Yeah. Right there. There it is. Alright. I'm getting off track. But it would have been hard to set up a sequel. I remember this because my dad, we went to see it, and he said that because there's a chase with an ambulance where Michael's chasing Laurie. There's a car crash. He gets pinned under the ambulance. Laurie, and he's pleading for help. Laurie has a fucking axe. And for a moment, it looks like they're going to have a brother-sister moment, and that she's going to forgive him, or it's just this little bonding moment I liked. And then she cuts his fucking head off. Like, and you think that's it? How's he going to come back from that? His head is cut. Well, excuse me a moment. Yeah. Sorry, I know that was pleasant. Well, what happens after that is Halloween Resurrection. And the way they explain how Michael comes back in this time, which is kind of ingenious, is before the whole fight, Michael had kidnapped a paramedic, put him in his clothes, taped his mouth shut so he couldn't talk, put his mask over on him, and then let the whole thing play out. So when the guy's doing this, it's not Michael crying for help, it's the guy, it's like, don't kill me! Like from old Virtual Cop, don't shoot me! So finding out what she'd done, Laurie, kind of went insane and ended up in a mental hospital herself. Irony! Where a few years later, Michael comes to finally kill her. With in a moment I kind of like. There's a guy another inmate who all he does is know statistics of serial killers like Ed Gein and Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer and all of them. And Michael walks by and the guy's not freaked out. He looks just like Michael Myers. 218 kills, blah blah, like lists off the stats, so that's pretty funny. But Jamie Lee Curtis gets killed in this one. Laurie gets killed. They're hanging off of a wire from the hospital. She's like, "You'll never find him," referring to her son, and she kisses Michael on the mask, and then he lets her drop, and she's dead. The reason for this is Jamie Lee Curtis agreed to come back for this only if Laurie was killed off, because she did not want to play the character anymore. So they lived to the obligation, and she died. So, and they don't have Josh Hartnett. He's only in a picture in her room, because, he's hidden away. So you might be wondering, what are they gonna do? Even without the Cult of Thorn thing, the whole series has always been set up around Michael trying to kill his remaining family for whatever reason. So what happens? Well, this is where it gets dumb. You see, this film crew, this web crew, goes into Michael's home, the old Myers home, and starts setting up this show of like the truth of Michael Myers and how awful the childhood was. And they set up all these props like a chained like a high chair with a lock on it that he got locked into in a little corner in the room where he was chained up, and basically a bunch of bullshit to hype it. The only notable exception is the only reason this stands out the most is Buster Rhymes is there. Yeah, Buster Rhymes runs this thing. And there's a bunch of forgettable characters. One, of course, I didn't know this at the time. One Katie is Katie Sackhoff before she came Starbuck on the new Battlestar Galactica. So it's fun to go back and watch it now. You see her starting out, and she's kind of a whore in this character. I think you see her breasts. I can't remember. There's some tits in there. I remember that. Of course, I'm gonna remember that. I don't know if it was her or not, but there is one moment where like Busta dresses up as Michael Myers to scare the people because there's fake limbs. They're basically bullshitting this whole story, but then the real Michael came in and started killing people. So there's a confrontation between the two where like Michael just stops, tilts his head, and looks at the fake one, like, and you without even seeing his expression. I will say, without seeing his face, without seeing much of his eyes, the actor who played Michael this one carried it well. You just see him like, what the fuck? What? What is... And then Busta Rhymes, in Michael costume, tells off Michael Myers about how a fucking moron he is. He's playing Michael, and you need to get your ass back in the van, because they can't see two fucking Michaels and blow the whole thing. Get fucking back in the van. And then Michael does it. Like, he just goes along with it. That's all I really remember. That's one of the best scenes of that whole movie. I'd like YouTube that shit. That's hilarious. But other than that, same shit. Michael killing people. It's really not as good. It's really the weakest link in the original series, whatever you want to refer to, since again, these ones don't match up at all. But that was the end of it. This Halloween Resurrection kind of, ironically enough, killed the franchise. It just did not do good, and it just was not a good movie. So, Michael lay dormant for many years. And then we cut to Rob Zombie's Halloween. Yeah, I don't actually have the movie. The soundtrack's good, though. I would recommend the soundtrack. It's one of the most fucking like schizophrenic soundtracks I've ever had. Like, I have it on my iPod, and when it pops up on random, I have to remember what it is. Like, it's like, really? From the same fucking soundtrack? Huh. But anyways, ironically enough, this one's on Sci-Fi right now. I don't have the TV on, but it's the reimagining of Halloween. It's by Rob Zombie, House of the Dead, or not House of the Dead, House of a Thousand Corpses, and The Devil's Rejects, and stuff like that. So you kind of know what you're getting at. A lot of people don't like this movie. I like it okay. It's pretty good. It does miss the point of the original where there's, where the original had little bloodshed, this one has a lot. Because that's Rob Zombie's fucking thing, I guess. That's all he knows how to do. That and Hillbillies. Because this one was going to tell the secret origin of Michael Myers. And it was originally built as a companion piece to the original, to where you see Michael's years in the sanitarium. It's not. It's totally not. It's its own movie. It is a remake. Don't try to fit it in with the original because it doesn't work. Although, I will say, the best parts of the movie are Malcolm McDowell's Dr. Loomis, because Malcolm McDowell's fucking awesome, of course, and Brad Dourif as the sheriff. Actually, the girl who plays Laurie in this, Scout Taylor something, It's some weird fucking name. But she's a good actress, and I think she played the Laurie character really well. It's just the script wasn't that big, wasn't that good. But apparently, the secret origin of Michael Myers was he was a fat kid who had abusive, horrible parents and got picked on a lot in school. Until one day he snapped and beat the shit out of the bullies with a fucking tree branch. Now, I was bullied in high school, so I kind of get that. So watching him get beat up was kind of a cathartic experience for me. But as a motivation, it is really kind of for Michael Myers. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, I kind of like it. It's okay. An interesting note is Daniel Harris, who played Jamie in this one, in the 4 and 5, comes back as an obviously a different character. But, she comes back to the series having been away from it and horror for a long time because she had a real life stalker and naturally it scared her. So so it was a fun thing. She fucking dies brutally in this, as again is fucking Rob Zombie's trademark apparently. And I think Tyler Mane did a pretty good Michael. He was huge, so they didn't explain how, if he was the little fat kid who didn't do anything except get real quiet and make his mask, got real fucking huge, but I count that to supernatural entities. Why the fuck not? Then, so, ugh, God, sorry. So yeah, it's more that it's a lot of rednecks, a lot of killing, a lot of blood. And the end has Laurie shoot Michael and walk away after Michael had crushed Dr. Loomis' skull. Which brings up a really, really good question for Halloween 2, or Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. How the fuck did Loomis survive? Because he's in the second one. I guess I went with the alternate ending that was too shocking for theaters, and I remember watching it, and it was weird. Like, and Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, that one's just awful. Just awful. There's all this shit about, like, he sees visions of his mom on a white horse, and Laurie is like this goth punk screwed up bitch, which I understand that, but it's just really bad. It's handled badly. Like, the first one was okay because Rob was still trying to hold on to the very first Halloween, the spirit of that. This one he did his own thing, and it's just too much. Like, Michael goes around a lot of time without his fucking mask on. And he has, like, bushy hair, and he's dressed like a fucking hobo, or a hillbilly, because that's all Rob knows. There are apparently a shitload of hillbillies in Illinois, more than there is in West Virginia, apparently. There is one scene I like about this, though, where Michael's outside of a strip club, and this, kind of big, burly, fucking hillbilly dude is like, oh, you gotta get out of here, and starts wailing on Michael, and Michael just lays down and takes it, and it goes on for like 2 minutes. And then Michael gets up, and he puts the mask on. As he's putting the mask on, the Halloween theme plays, or at least the updated version. That was kind of badass. It's kind of like the superhero moment for Michael. And then, of course, he just kills the shit out of him. And there was... Yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought on this one, because it's just so bad. Like, again, Michael McDowell's awesome playing Dr. Loomis as this, like, get-rich-quick, like, he writes a book about the whole thing, and he's at this conference, and, like, the trailer showed him, like, people asking about Michael Myers, and he's like, the trailer's like, Michael is not dead, and he's still out there, and we have to be on vigilance. The actual scene in the movie is like, what do you think? Do you think Michael Myers could be there? It's like, how many times do I have to tell you this? Michael Myers is fucking dead! And he goes crazy. And nobody can play crazy like Malcolm McDowell, so it's worth watching for him. Everything else is pretty god-awful, especially the last scene where Laurie gets taken by Michael into this shed, and cops surround the place, and Loomis is there trying to talk to Michael, And in the shed, Lori sees Michael and young Michael and her mom, and we don't know what the fuck's going on there. Does she actually see them? Does he hear them? What the fuck? It's really fucking confusing. And at the very end, Lori kills Michael, puts on his mask, staggers out. Brad Dourif, who plays the sheriff, who's taking her in at this point, takes off the mask. She flips out. The very last image scene is her in a mental hospital, and we see her mom, played by Rob Zombie's wife, in the white with the white flowing gown and hair, and the white horse walking towards her, and Lori just kind of gets this really evil smile on her face. And that's the end of the movie, implying that whatever curse was in Michael passed on to her, and if there's a third one, it's going to be about her. But I don't think there will be, because it didn't do very well. And so that's it. That's the Halloween series. I know I didn't do well explaining them, but really with any slasher movie, there's not much you can say. A lot of people die, in a lot of brutal, kind of inventive ways. But Halloween, Michael always stuck mostly with his butcher knife. The continuity of it's not too horrible, but the differences between, this movie not being in there, and then this movie contradicting, like, the 3 between it, it creates kind of a continuity clusterfuck. So that's all I have to say for now. Hopefully when I come back, my voice will be better. That's another reason I couldn't go long. If you can tell, it's rambling a bit. So that's it. Happy Halloween. Be safe. And make sure you get a lot of candy. Always check it. Beware of strangers. And what the fuck?